Are you getting the vibes? The vibes. The vibes. It's time for another Mindset Monday. That was actually take 2 and it was twice as bad the second time.
I know. However, today is Mindset Monday and we've got another mindset lesson for you.
So we're going to talk about, what do we say, wavelengths?
Wavelengths.
Trusting your wavelengths? Something like that?
Got an itch in my leg. Yeah, trusting what the feelings that you have about certain people.
Now, I'm sure everyone can relate to this. Have you ever had a situation where you've been thinking about, you've just randomly thought of someone, either a loved one, someone close to you, an old friend, whatever. You think of them, you think, oh, they've just popped into my head for absolutely no reason at all. Then boom, either the telephone rings or your phone vibrates, get a message, or you open your emails and you've got correspondence from. And you're like, blimmin' heck, like, did I just think of them and make that happen? Or was it them thinking of me that I picked up on the wavelength? So then you've got to ask yourself in future, it's like, everybody's sort of wavelengths, is there an area of our brain that we're not quite tapping into?
Yeah, are we all connected at a subconscious level that we are not aware of? Mm-hmm. Now there is a little bit of study on this, and it's all to do with the kind of connectedness, and I've actually reading a book at the moment, and they're saying that you can influence other people's dreams. It's really fast. So there's a study done and they would stare at things like pictures while trying to basically project that image into a person sleeping and dreaming. And they found that actually worked, not 100% of the time, but there was periods. Now, what causes that connectedness? We don't know. And ultimately it does come down to wavelengths. So I think it was Einstein that said everything is energy and that's all there is to it. So if you match the frequency of the reality you want, you can't help but get that reality. So I can't help but think that brains and minds and people, we are connected. So people say, I get a vibe from someone. That's the vibration. Mm-hmm. If you're in the same vibration as someone, you don't have to be in their presence to feel it. If you're in the same vibration as someone, you will feel it regardless. And they will be feeling it too.
It's interesting because there'll be times where I think everybody is capable of this. A lot of people ignore it. Now, there are people in the world that claim to be psychic, and whether they are or not, that's different. But however, I think the ones that are certainly psychically in tuned, they're just more aware of these wavelengths, or could be more aware. And I think there's a lot of information that our brains choose to ignore. And if we make ourselves more open to it, so if you were sitting working away and you suddenly think of someone you've not thought about for a long time, don't just dismiss it. There might be a reason that that's come into your head. They might have been thinking about you, or the chances are you might be meeting again soon, or they might be within your area, because if you've not seen someone for years, I remember it used to happen to me. I nipped down the town centre and there was a guy I used to walk to school with every morning. Hadn't seen him for years, and he popped into my head randomly, and I can't even think, usually you think something would trigger it. No idea, I hadn't even thought of him for years. And then I walked past him in the town centre. I was like, what the hell, there's Barry? Like, I've not seen that guy in years, and obviously I must have picked up on that he was nearby and the wavelengths must have matched or something. So
usually it comes down to, are you in the same frequency as that person? And you might have found that like a friend who you're thinking about is thinking about you because they're in your area. Like, oh, I'm in the same area as Rab, I wonder how he's doing. All of a sudden, because he's thinking about you, you start thinking about him and you're on the same wavelength. Boom. And it happens. I think the main point of today's mindset is we want to hear your stories. Have you had a story like that? Have you had an experience like that with maybe a loved one, somebody you've never seen for a while? Tell us your strangest situations because we want to hear them. And the other action point to that is,
if you do happen to think of someone that you haven't thought of over a while, or maybe an old friend you haven't been in contact for whatever reason, assuming there's no bad blood, drop them a message, drop them an email, give them a call. You never know, they might be having a hard time and they're thinking of their old friend as a bit of nostalgia, and you might make their day. You've no idea why, or it could just be absolutely random. But
yeah, and the worst case scenario, they're not thinking about you, but you've probably made them happy anyway, the fact you've picked up the phone or you've dropped them an email.
So get on the same wavelength.
Are you getting the vibes from us?
Are you getting the vibes? The vibes. The vibes.
Like creepy. The vibes.
In the middle of the forest, he's like, the vibes.
It's like a little leprechaun. Oh, I'm the leprechaun. Ooh, are you getting the vibes?